Imagine an empire so vast its influence touches every corner of the known world. This is not a tale of fiction, but a chapter from our history. It's the story of Rome, a city founded in 753 BC by its first king, Romulus. Picture this: it's the dawn of an empire, a time where legends are born and history is etched in stone. A small settlement on the banks of the Tiber River, founded by a man whose story is as mythical as the city he established. Romulus, a man raised by a she-wolf, laid the foundation of what would become one of the most powerful empires in the history of mankind. Over the next few centuries, Rome flourished, growing from a humble city-state into a prosperous and influential metropolis. Its wealth grew, its power spread, and soon, Rome was the center of the world. Its armies, unmatched in their discipline and might, marched forth, conquering lands and people, expanding its borders far beyond the Italian peninsula. By AD 275, Rome had achieved an unprecedented feat. It had brought under its control all the lands around the Mediterranean. Imagine the extent of its influence and power, stretching from the sun-kissed sands of Africa to the misty shores of England, from the vibrant markets of Asia Minor to the dense forests of Germany. Rome was no longer just a city. It was an empire, a beacon of civilization in a world of chaos. Its laws, culture, and language permeated through the lands it conquered. It was a symbol of power, a testament to human ambition, and a beacon of hope for a world in turmoil. Its rulers, from Julius Caesar to Marcus Aurelius, became legends, their names echoing through the corridors of time. The Roman Empire, at its peak, was the most extensive political and social structure in Western civilization. This is where our journey begins, at the dawn of an empire that would shape the world as we know it. Stay tuned, for the story of Rome is a saga of power, glory, and eventual decline. The Roman Empire didn't simply rise, it soared, ushering in an era of unprecedented peace and prosperity. This epic, known as the Pax Romana, spanned from 27 BC to 180 AD. Rome, during this period, was at the zenith of its power, wealth, and territory, painting a picture of an empire that was not just dominant, but also prosperous. The Pax Romana, or Roman peace, was a time of relative tranquility throughout the Mediterranean world. It was a period marked by stability and progress. It was a time when Rome, under the guidance of its emperors, flourished. It's not an exaggeration to say that the world had never seen anything quite like it. In architecture, the Romans left an indelible mark. They built roads and walls, things we might take for granted now, but back then they were groundbreaking. The Romans also mastered the arch, which allowed them to construct buildings like the Colosseum, structures that not only stand to this day, but continue to inspire modern architecture. In the realm of literature, the Pax Romana saw the rise of literary luminaries like Virgil and Ovid, whose works continue to be studied and admired. Their words, their stories, their philosophies. They've echoed through the ages, shaping Western literature for centuries to come. And in the sphere of law, the Romans were innovators. They developed a legal system that, to this day, forms the bedrock of legal principles and practices in many modern societies. Concepts such as innocent until proven guilty and the right to a fair trial, these were born from the mind of Rome. The Pax Romana, in essence, was more than a period of peace and prosperity. It was a time of innovation and advancement. It was an era that saw Rome not only dominate but also shape the world. It was a golden age where Rome's light shone brightest. The Pax Romana, a golden age where Rome's light shone brightest. A period where Rome, in all its grandeur and glory, etched its name in the annals of history. No empire, no matter how grand, can last forever. And so it was with the mighty Roman Empire. After the Pax Romana, that golden age of peace and prosperity, the cracks began to show. The empire, stretching from the sun-scorched sands of Africa to the rain-soaked forests of Britannia, was simply too vast. Communication across such a sprawling expanse was a Herculean task, and the logistics of maintaining control and order were becoming increasingly complex. It wasn't just the size that was problematic. The empire had its fair share of enemies, both within and without. Barbarian tribes from the north, such as the Visigoths and the Vandals, were constantly pressing against the borders. Inside the empire, rival factions jostled for power, leading to political instability and civil unrest. The empire's military might, once its greatest asset, was stretched thin, and the cracks were beginning to widen. Then there was the economy. For all its wealth and opulence, the Roman Empire was struggling to keep its head above water. The cost of maintaining the empire, from the legions to the infrastructure, was enormous. The strain on the treasury was further exacerbated by a series of poor harvests, and the coffers were running dry. Inflation soared, and the value of the Roman currency plummeted, leading to economic instability. And perhaps the most damning of all was the weakening of the leadership. The line of competent emperors that had guided the empire through the Pax Romana was replaced by a succession of weak and ineffective rulers. Ineptitude and corruption seeped into the highest levels of government, eroding the empire from within. All of these factors combined to create a perfect storm. The once invincible empire was showing its vulnerabilities, and the vultures began to circle. But remember, it wasn't just one factor that led to the decline of the Roman Empire. It was a combination of many, a slow chipping away at the foundations of a once great civilization. The once invincible empire was showing its vulnerabilities, and the vultures began to circle. The mighty Rome, which had stood unchallenged for centuries, was about to crumble. Imagine, if you would, an empire that had been a beacon of civilization and power, now teetering on the precipice of collapse. This was the reality in the 5th century AD, when the Western Roman Empire breathed its last. The final blow was struck by the Germanic king Odoacer in 476 AD. But what led this once great empire to its knees? Firstly, let's delve into the military blunders that hastened Rome's fall. The Romans, despite their military prowess, made several strategic errors. They relied heavily on foreign mercenaries who had little loyalty to Rome. When the chips were down, these mercenaries often turned their coats, weakening the empire's defense. Now let's look at the internal decay. The Roman government was riddled with corruption and political instability. Emperors were frequently overthrown or assassinated, leading to a constant power struggle. This instability led to ineffective rule, and the empire's control began to slip. Lastly, let's not forget the economic crisis. The empire's vast size made it difficult to manage and protect. To maintain its military and administrative costs, Rome heavily taxed its citizens. This, coupled with rampant inflation, led to a severe economic downturn, and the once prosperous empire was now gripped by poverty and despair. The fall of Rome wasn't a singular event, but rather a centuries-long process. The empire was weakened from within by corruption and economic instability, and from without by military mistakes. The final nail in the coffin was when Odoacer, the Germanic king, overthrew the last Roman emperor, Romulus Augustus, in 476 AD. And so the sun set on the Roman Empire, leaving behind a legacy that would echo through the ages. Even in its fall, Rome's influence remains palpable, a testament to an empire that once was. Rome fell, but its spirit lived on. The great Roman Empire may have crumbled, but its echoes reverberate through the annals of time, shaping the world we know today. The legacy of Rome is not confined to the ruins of the Colosseum or the ancient roads that span the continent. Instead, it's woven into the very fabric of our modern society, from our architecture to our law, language, and governance. Consider the grandeur of our architectural landscapes. Those towering columns, domed ceilings, and sprawling aqueducts all bear the unmistakable mark of Roman ingenuity. From the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. to St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City, the Roman architectural style continues to inspire and awe. But Rome's legacy extends far beyond bricks and mortar. It permeates the very essence of our legal systems. The principles of Roman law, such as innocent until proven guilty and the right to face your accuser, are cornerstones of justice in many countries today. And let's not forget the pervasive influence of Latin, the language of the Romans. Even though it's considered a dead language, it's anything but silent. It lives on in the words we speak every day. Words like video, audio, alibi, and etc. are all Latin. It's the language of science, of law, of the Catholic Church. In the realm of governance, too, we see Rome's influence. The concept of a republic, a state in which supreme power is held by the people and their elected representatives, was first realized in the Roman Republic. This model has shaped democracies around the globe. The Roman Empire, a testament to human ambition, serves as a potent reminder of what humans can achieve and how those achievements can crumble to dust. But from the dust, we rise again, always striving, always reaching. Such is the legacy of Rome,